Dear students, in the previous lecture, we study introduction in which we study the definitions of economics. We study the subject matter of economics, that is microeconomics, macroeconomics. Then we study economy as a whole. Then we study the systems of economy, that is capitalist economy, socialist economy, and mixed economy. Capitalist economy, I told you, it is such type of economy in which the economic activities are run by market, that is price mechanism, which I have already shown you that with the help of a diagram how the prices are determined in a free-market economy. Then socialist economy, I told you, it is simply that economy in which the means of production are owned by the government, or in which the production is done by the central planning authority. Thirdly, we have what we call the mixed economy, which is a combination of capitalist economy and socialist economy, that both the sides, private as well as government sector, exists in an economy. I give you examples. If we say market economy, that is US economy. If we say socialist economy, that may be Russian economy. And if we say mixed economy, then Indian economy is what we call a mixed economy. Proceeding, let us start with the new, what we are going to discuss today, that is simply central problems of an economy. Central problems of an economy, in which we are going to study number one, main central problems. Main central problems. Number two, production possibility curve. Production possibility curve. Possibility curve. Okay. Before proceeding towards the central problems of economy, first we should understand what is meant by an economic problem. Economic problem or central problem जो होते हैं, what is meant by economic problem? Economic problem meaning. Number two, causes of economic problem. Dear students, you are aware that economic problem arises due. Economic problem means problem of choice, that whether it is a developed economy or it is an underdeveloped economy, every economy has to face some economic problems that later on we will call central problems of an economy. Central problems of an economy. First come what is meant by economic problem. Economic problem simply means a problem of choice. Every economy, every person or every economy has the problem that the wants are very much unlimited and the resources by which we are satisfying our wants, they are limited. So the economic problem arises. A people or the economy has to make a choice. So we call it is a problem of choice when we say economic problem. Next, causes of economic problem. Number A, cause of economic problem is unlimited wants. Unlimited wants. Number second is limited resources. resources, and number C is alternative uses. Alternative uses. Okay. So these are the main causes why an economic problem arises. The first is unlimited wants. That means the multiplicity of wants. That simply means human wants are unlimited. When one want is satisfied, it gives rise to another problem, another want. So when another is satisfied, it gives rise to maybe any another want. Though we called these wants are unlimited. Then we have limited resources. We are going to satisfy our wants by our resources. They are very much limited by the sources, by the means by which we are going to satisfy our wants. They are very much limited. And number 3, they have alternative uses. So the problem of multiplicity of wants and limited resources which have already alternative uses creates the problem which is called economic problem, creates the problem that we called central problems of an economy. Now let us see what are the central problems of an economy. The central problems of economy, number first is allocation of resources, in which we study what, number B, how, and number C, whom to produce. Whom to produce. Then we have full utilization of resources, full utilization of resources. Then we have efficient economy or efficient use of resources. And number 3 we have economic. Number 4 we have economic problem. Now let's come to first problem, that is allocation of resources. Allocation of resources means 3 things. It means what, how, and for whom to produce. Let us consider first one, that is what to produce. You may be aware that in an economy the resources are given. We have given resources, and this is not possible. By the given resources we can produce all the goods and services that we need in an economy. That is not possible. So when we utilize our resources, we have to think what to produce, which simply means what goods we have to produce. Say for example, in every economy we need different types of goods. Maybe we are needing consumer goods, we need capital goods. So an economy has to think what to produce, how much of consumer goods and how much of capital goods. Because in our society, in our economy, the people belong to different economies, the people belong to different categories. Some may be purchasing consumer goods and some are purchasing capital goods. Even we can categorize, we have necessities, we should have comforts, we should have luxuries. And it is not possible for the government, for the economy as a whole, to produce all the luxury goods, to produce all the necessities, to produce all the comforts. So the economy has to make a choice what goods should be produced and in what quantity, how many of consumer goods, how many of capital goods, how many of necessities, how many of comforts, and how much of luxury goods. So this we call the first problem of economy. What goods should be produced in the economy, whether consumer goods, capital goods, necessities, comforts, luxury goods, what goods we are going to produce and in which quantity we are going to produce the goods and services in the economy. That is the first and foremost problem in allocation of resources in an economy. And these problems, which we call central problems of an economy, they are common to all countries, whether the countries are developed economies or they are underdeveloped economies, whether it is US economy or it is Indian economy. The problem is what to produce, how much of consumer goods, how much of capital goods, how many of comforts, how much of luxury goods. This we call what to produce. Then we have the next one, that is how to produce. See students, when we produce goods and services, we utilize two techniques of production. First technique of production is number one, labor intensive technique. Number second is capital intensive techniques. Capital intensive technique. These are the two techniques by which we are going to produce goods and services in the economy. Now, if we have free market economy, then the price mechanism will discuss whether we are going to utilize labor intensive technique or we are going to utilize capital intensive technique. But if it is central planning economy or if it is socialist economy, then the central planning authority has to decide whether we are going to produce goods and services with the help of labor intensive technique or with the help of capital intensive technique. Now it depends upon the nature of an economy. Take the example of we Indians. We take the example of India. In India, if we want to produce goods and services, then we should utilize labor intensive technique, जैसा कि हम करते हैं. As we do, maximum goods and services in our country is produced with the help of labor intensive technique, simply because in our country labor is very much abundant in the country, and maximum countries of the world which are labor abundant countries, they produce maximum goods with the help of labor intensive technique. And one more thing we have to keep in mind, when we are going to produce any commodity, we should know that if we produce the commodity with the help of labor intensive technique, what will be the cost of production? If we are going to produce it by the capital intensive technique, how much is the cost of production? So if we find, or if the authorities which are concerned with the economy, if they feel that if we produce commodity X with the help of labor intensive technique, its cost will be, or its market price will be ₹10, and if we produce the same commodity with the help of labor intensive technique, its price will be say ₹15, then it is better to produce it with the help of labor intensive. And same is the situation if we know that by producing commodity X with the help of capital, its price will be ₹5, and if we are going to produce with this, its price will be ₹10. So it is better to produce with the capital intensive technique. These are the two techniques which we are utilizing in order to produce goods and services. So an economy has to decide, if we have labor abundant country, then it is better to produce with labor intensive technique. If we have capital intensive technique, then it is better to produce. Take the example, in India, we are producing maximum goods with the help of labor intensive technique, and if we give the example of US economy, they produce maximum goods and services with the help of capital intensive technique, because labor intensive technique will be costly for them and capital intensive technique will be cost for India. So India produces with this technique and US produces with this technique. This was the second problem related to allocation of resources. Now the third one is for whom to produce. Now we are going to produce goods and services in the economy. Now the next question is for whom to produce. It can be discussed in two ways. If we say for whom to produce, we know that we have different sections of the society. Different sections of the society. We have rich, we have middle class, rich class, we have middle class, and we have lower class. So, when we are going to produce goods and services in the economy, we have to keep all the three sections of the society in mind. If we produce only for this section of the society, keeping their interests in view, we are going to produce goods and services that may create problem. If we do the same with this category of the society, there is problem again. And if we do this, so we have to think how much goods are be produced for the rich people, for middle class, and for the lower class. This for whom to produce is also explained. It also means how to distribute. How to distribute. How to distribute. How to distribute means when we have produced goods and services, how they be distributed in an economy. You may be aware that when the goods and services are produced in the economy, we need land, we need labor, we need capital, we need interest, entrepreneur. So these are the four factors of production when we are going to produce goods and services. One is the goods and services are produced by the economy. Say, when we produce goods and services, it is not possible in the monetary system to distribute. Suppose we have produced good X. It is not possible give some access to this, some access to labor, some access to capital, some access to property. Maybe there may be no need for landlord to accept access, so there may be problems. So what we do, we give money value to all the production by these factors of production. We give the money value. Suppose the total goods and services produced in an economy with the help of land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur, say the total income generated is equal to 100 crores, then we are going to distribute this 100 crores between land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Now the question is, how much out of this should be given to land, how much should be given to labor, how much should be given to capital, how much should be given to the entrepreneur? Because land gets rent, labor gets wages, and capital gets interest, then entrepreneur gets the profits. So it is better to distribute. How much out of this should be given to this, how much to this, how much to this, how much to this. Maximum economists are of the view that this production, this money value of goods and services should be distributed on the basis of productivity. Productivity. What is the productivity of land? So much amount the land will get in the form of rent. What will be the productivity of labor? So much amount he may get in the form of wages. What will be the productivity of capital? So much interest may be given to the capitalist, and last what remains, that may be to the pocket, goes to the pocket of entrepreneur in the form of profits. So this is what we call the allocation of resources. How in an economy the problem, what and how for whom to produce, this is the first and foremost problem of an economy. Then next we have next problem that the economy is facing, that is what we called full utilization of resources. Full utilization of resources simply means how much resources you have utilized, they should be fully employed. Fully employed. Fully employed simply means that we are getting more and more out of our resources that we are utilizing. Then we have efficient economy. Efficient economy simply means that we are producing, we have utilized our resources fully, that should be efficient use of the resources. Efficient use of the resources simply means that we should get maximum out of minimum. This we call efficient economy. And the last problem, which is related to the central problems of an economy, that is the problem of economic growth. Economic growth simply means a consistent increase in gross domestic product, which we literally call GDP. If you are the main focus of when we utilize our resources, when we make efficient use of our economy, when we utilize our resources properly, fully, and then the main problem what we have to, that is economic growth, that is we should increase our GDP in a consistent manner. That is, say for example in the financial year 2004-5 the GDP was 5%, say in 2005-6 it is 6%, in 2007-6-7 it is 7.5%, etc. If this is happening in the economy, that the gross domestic product is increasing at a consistent rate, then we can consider this is what we called economic growth of the economy. So this is one more central problem, that every economy, when it utilizes its resources, it has to think what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce, or how to distribute. Full utilization of resources, efficient economy or efficient use of resources, and lastly economic growth. These all are what we call central problems of an economy. So next what we are going to study, that is production possibility curve. Production possibility curve, it is also known as production possibility frontier or PPF. Some economists called that it can also be called production, it can be also called transformation line or transformation curve. Let us first understand what is the meaning of production possibility curve. Meaning of production possibility curve, PPC. Production possibility curve, it is simply an imaginary curve which shows the combination of two goods which can be produced in an economy with the help of given resources. Dear students, you know that the resources in an economy are always given. So, when resources are given, if we want to produce all the goods and services in the economy, that is not possible. So, with the help of given resources, we have to think how much goods of X, how much goods of Y, how much of consumer goods, how much of capital goods we are going to produce. That will be shown with the help of a curve, with the help of a diagram. That simply is known as production possibility curve, or in simple words you can say production possibility curve is an imaginary curve which shows the combination of two goods that can be produced in the economy with the help of given resources. I will show it to you with the help of a schedule that will be known as production possibility schedule, and then I will pull out the same data on the graph and we will get a curve that will be known as production possibility curve. But before proceeding towards the production possibility schedule and diagram, let us first keep some assumptions of this production possibility curve in mind. Number one, number first is economy is producing two goods, X and Y. In an economy, we produce so many goods. Not only X, not only Y, not only Z, we produce A, B, C, D, so many types of goods produced. But for the sake of convenience and for the sake of understanding, we assume that we are producing only two goods in the economy, that is good X and good Y. Next is that technology is given. Technology is given and constant. Given and constant. This is the next. Number third is resources are fixed. Resources are fixed. Number fourth is resources are fully and efficiently utilized. So before showing you this production possibility curve on a diagram, let us assume that economy is producing only two goods, say good X and good Y. Technology is given and constant. That means we are not able to change the technology. Whatsoever we have to produce with the help of that. Resources are fixed. That simply means you are not able to create more and more resources. If you create more resources, you can produce more. Then there may be confusions. Resources are fixed. And lastly, resources are fully employed. Fully employed means all the resources, they are fully employed. Take for example, if we say full employment of resources, take the example, labor is our resource. If we say that all the laborers who are willing to work on the prevailing wage rate in the market can get the job, that we called full employment of labor resources. And efficiently means we are getting maximum out of minimum. Let us first understand it with the help of schedule, then I will plot the same data on the graph. Production possibility schedule. Production possibility schedule. Number 1, 2, 3. Combination, nation, good X, and third column good Y. Okay. A, B, C, D, E, F. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Suppose, wait, 15, say 14, say 12, say 9, say 5, say 0. Now suppose we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 combinations. When we are utilizing our given resources, which I have, resources are given, fixed. When we are using our given resources, the first combination that we are going to produce, we can produce 0 of X and 15 of Y. This is the first combination. We produce 0 of X and 15 of Y. Then the combination 2 may be, if we want to increase, we produce 1 of good X, then 14 of good Y. Then C, 2 of good X and 12 of good Y. 3 of good X and 9 of good Y. 4 of good X and 5 of good Y. When we produce 5 of good X, we are able to produce 0 of good Y. That is simply because our resources are given. And from the above table, it is very much clear. When you are going to increase this, you have to decrease this. Because your resources are fixed. You are not able to increase the resources, so you can produce more of this and you can also produce more of this. That is not possible. So if we pull out the same data on a graph, we will get a curve that is known as production possibility curve. Or simply we can say diagrammatic presentation of production possibility curve or production possibility fund trial, or you can say production possibility line or simply transformation line. Let us say in the graph we have x-axis, we have y-axis. We have y-axis and we have x-axis. Along this y-axis, we are going to produce good Y, and along this x-axis, we are going to show good X. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Say 3, 6, 9, 12 and 15. We count in threes. 3, 6, 9, 12 and 15. When we produce 0 of good X, we are able to produce 15 of good Y. So first combination, A, 0 of X, 15 of Y. Then when we produce 1 of good X, we are able to produce 14 of good Y. 14 maybe, it may be here. So this is combination B. Then when we produce 2, we produce 12. This is 2 and this is 12. This is combination C. Then 3 and 9. This is 3 and this will be 9. This is combination D. Then 4 and 5. 4, this is 4 and this will be 5. This is combination E, and then 5 and 0, that means 5 of this and 0 of this. Now we have A, B, C, D, E and F. If we join all the 5 points, what we get, this curve, this is known as production possibility curve. It shows different combinations. First combination, this 0 of this, 15 of this, then this, say I will join the pointers, this much of this much of this, then this much of this much of this, then again this much of this, and this much of this, then 6 of this, and this much of this, then we have this and this, then again we have 0 of this. Sorry, this. No. So this is called production possibility curve. So simply I have defined it. It shows the combination of two goods, that is good Y and good X, that can be produced with the help of good X. It is not necessary only these combinations. This may be a combination. This might be another combination. This may be any other combination. This may be another combination. This may be another combination. This may. But one thing you have to keep in mind: once you increase one, you have to reduce the other because of given resources. So this curve we called production possibility curve. Now I will show you some points which are very much related to the production possibility curve. Just we study our central problems of an economy. So this production possibility curve shows you what to produce and how much. How many of capital goods? Say how many of consumer goods. If good X is represented by capital consumer goods and good Y by capital goods, then it can simply say what to produce. If you are going to produce 15 of capital goods, you can produce 0 of consumer goods. And once you want to increase the number of consumer goods, you have to reduce the number of capital goods. Secondly, the second problem that we studied, what kind of technology we are going, how to produce, what kind of technology we are. If we utilize, say, this is labor intensive technique, this is capital intensive technique, it can easily be find out how much, what is better for us, whether it is labor intensive technique or it is capital intensive technique, and then for whom to produce, and then full utilization of resource. Any point on this production possibility curve. Say this is point D, say this is point G, say this is point H. Point G, if we are producing point G, say if we join this much of this much of this, it may be inefficient use of resources. Inefficient use of resources. Then if we want to produce H, that is beyond our production possibility curve, that is not possible. But if we want to achieve this, that we have to create growth in the economy. Growth, once we achieve the growth in the economy, then we are able to produce. So any point on the production possibility curve, say point D, it is efficient use of resources. Efficient use of resources. Any point beyond this production possibility curve, that is inefficient use of resources, and any point above the production possibility curve, that is known as what we called growth of resources. Maybe tomorrow in the examination, the question is like this: show economic growth on a production possibility curve. Show inefficient use of resources on a production possibility curve. Or simply, they may mention point D, point G, and point H. They may ask you what point G shows, what point D shows, and what point H shows. Simply, any point below the production possibility curve, it is inefficient use of resources. Any point on the production possibility curve is efficient use of resources, and any point beyond the production possibility curve, then it is what we called growth of resources. So for today, I feel it is enough. In the next lecture, I will explain two things I want to explain just now. That is, this production possibility curve is number one, properties. Here I am going to write down properties of production possibility curve. Number one, production possibility curve slopes downwards from left to right, from A to F, slopes downwards from left to right. Number one. Number two, I am going to write here, production possibility curve is concave to the origin, is concave to the origin. First property of production possibility curve, it slopes downwards from left to right. It is simply because when you produce more of one good, you have to reduce the production of another good. When you want to produce more of X's, you have to reduce Y. When you want to produce more of Y, you have to reduce X. So this is why the production possibility curve slopes downwards from left to right. Then next property of production possibility curve is that production possibility curve is concave to the origin. Concave to the origin simply means it is not convex, say it is not like in this shape, just the maximum curves we have, or it is not a straight line, but it is concave to the origin. That is simply because of this. Let's come to this point. Marginal rate of transformation, MRT, marginal rate of transformation. When we reduce one capital good, say one of good Y, we are able to produce one of X. Then when we reduce two of this, then we are able to produce one of this. Then when we reduce three, then we are able to produce one of this. Then four, and then five. It is simply production possibility curve is concave to the origin because of increasing marginal rate of transformation. If the marginal rate of transformation will be constant, say it may be like 5, 5, 5, 5 and 5, then this production possibility curve may be a straight line. If the rate of transformation may be in a decreasing form, say for example like this, it may be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Then this production possibility curve may be what we called convex to the origin. So this production possibility had two properties, very important concept. Why the production possibility, question may be like this, why the production possibility curve slopes downwards from left to right? Simply, the production possibility curve simply slopes downwards from left to right because our resources are given. When we produce more of X, we have to reduce more of Y. Why production possibility curve is concave to the origin? Simply because of marginal rate of transformation. The marginal rate of transformation is increasing. So this production possibility curve is, there are so many things yet which are very much related to the production possibility curve that may be in the next class which I am going to deliver before you.